Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, I'm going to be giving my most improved player for every team this season. This is the thing I do every year. I've done this for the past 2 seasons, where I give, if every team had a most improved player, who would it be? Just to shine some light on some guys that maybe won't win the actual award and won't be in the conversation, but guys that have really improved this year and have really found a role for themselves this year, so that's what we're doing today. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do also like that. I'd really appreciate it. We have done a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, getting closer and closer as the days go on. So all the support around the channel will be very much appreciated. Look to my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right to it. Getting this started with the Atlanta Hawks. Their most improved player this season would be Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels came over in the offseason in the DeJounte Murray trade, and he has been fantastic. He's become kind of a building block for this Hawks team. He's a former top 10 pick, out of G League Ignite in New Orleans. He had some moments here and there, but just couldn't consistently get on the court and didn't have enough opportunity really to develop. And so far in Atlanta, he's having a great season, career highs all over the board, averaging 14, 5, and 4 with 3 steals per game, which leads the NBA. Probably going to make all defensive first teams, could be DPOY conversations. Shoot 48% from the field, 34% from 3, literally all over the court. Career high numbers except for, free throw percent. He's shooting 58%. But he has really taken a big step. He's averaging 34 minutes. He's starting every game, becoming a really nice backcourt mate next to Trae Young, a defensive guy. Amazing hands. I think single season record for deflections, gets steals, lockdown defender. And then offensively, he's been better than expected. He's been consistently, he's not shooting amazing from 3, and he's not a crazy 3-point shooter yet, but he's taking a big strides there. He's had some games where he has 22 points, getting to the bucket, getting to the rim, passing for his teammates. He's been doing a lot of different things for this Hawks team, and he's only 21 years old. Well, just turned 22 actually a couple days ago. So he's still 22. He's going to be a big part of this Hawks team going down the line for the future, and it's just been really, really cool to see a top 10 guy that didn't really get a lot of opportunity. He was kind of trying to find his way, finally show who he is, because he's a very exciting player, and on both ends, he's really, really good. You don't get to see too many guards like him around where he's just elite defensively, and offensively he also has some upside. For the Celtics, their MIP is Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard played every game last year, was really, really solid last year. This year, he's been a lot better. Career numbers, he's giving you 14 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 41% from 3 on 8 attempts per game. Probably is a front runner to win 6th Man of the Year this year for an amazing Celtics team. Just has been really good. He's stayed through the grind. First couple years in the league, had some opportunity. Minutes were going down as the season progressed. Requested a trade at one point, even though the team was in the NBA Finals. Just trying to figure out a home for him and trying to show why he's good. And last year he played every game, showed some things really big in their championship run. And now this year he's been even better, has been one of the most valuable bench pieces, not maybe the most valuable bench piece in the NBA this season. A guy that can shoot the 3 ball with the best of them. He's going to come in and get consistent buckets, can come in and give you 20, 25, hit 6 or 7 threes off the bench if you need him to. Just a big spark plug for this team, and has really shown throughout the course of his career that he's willing to wait for. He's willing to, go out and do whatever he has to do to get minutes and stay ready. Kind of one of the poster guys of staying ready, because eventually he's going to get put into a role, which he has, and he has flourished in it very, very nicely. So Peyton Pritchard, definitely most improved player for Boston. He's been just really, really good this year. Might be a 6th Man of the Year this year. For the Brooklyn Nets, we're going with Keon Johnson as their MIP. Keon Johnson, another former first-round pick. He was the 21st overall pick back in 2021. First year with the Clippers. Then went to Portland. The last couple years been in Portland, trying to figure something out. Then last year he played a couple games in Brooklyn, and he was just trying to find a home, a spot in the NBA. So far this year, he's been getting the most opportunities he's ever gotten. He's playing 69 games, starting in 46 games for the Nets this year. 24 minutes to give you 10, 3, and 2 with a steal. Not great efficiency numbers, but it's also the Brooklyn Nets. But he's been getting just so much opportunity and has really had some solid games. Especially recently, he's had back-to-back 20-point games where he's hitting 3, 4 threes, which is not one of his strong skill sets. A tough, gritty defender, very, very athletic. Can get to the rim and score. And now he's just finally getting the opportunity to show that maybe he belongs in this league. He's still only 23 years old. He's still just turned 23. He's still very, very, very young. So he still has a lot of time maybe to develop. And with this Brooklyn Nets team being a team that wants to tank and wants to, go young, maybe they found a little decent rotational piece of the future in Keon Johnson, being a two-way guy that can score in the paint, can defend well, and if the three ball could be decent and consistent enough, then he definitely could find his way into a rotation somewhere. For the Charlotte Hornets, we're going with Moussa Diabate. Moussa Diabate, he was a top high school guy, almost a top 10 guy in the 2021 class, went to Michigan, didn't have an amazing year, fell to a second round pick. Last 2 years he spent with the Clippers. He played a combined 33 games in those 2 years, just was a two-way guy in the G League, all that stuff. Finds way to Charlotte, and this year he become an actual rotation player. He's played in 61 games. He's almost doubled the amount of games he's played this year than his entire career. Give you 5 points and 6 rebounds on 59% shooting. Just a workhorse, man. An energy, big workhorse. He's not the craziest, biggest center. He is 6'11", but not like the strongest or anything like that. But he's very, very athletic. Works hard for it. Gets a lot of offensive. He averages almost 3 offensive rebounds per game. Just gets a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of extra chance opportunities. Of athletic finisher. And again, he's still very young. He's still 23 years old. So maybe he can finally find a role for himself in Charlotte. And it's just really nice to see a guy that no one even knew who he really was. He was a two-way guy, didn't really get any chances to play. Go to a team, find a team that really needs him. They needed some center play with Mark Williams' injury. Nick Richards has some injuries. Then they had Taj Gibson, who was 75 years old. And now you have Moussa Diabate. As we do, that could be a decent energy big. And I think he got awarded with a regular standard contract. So shout out to Moussa for finding a role in the league. The Chicago Bulls are going with Josh Giddey. This was kind of a tough team to really figure out which one it would be. But ultimately, I went with Giddey. Overall in the entirety of the year, it's an improvement from last year. He's averaging 14, 7, and 7 with career high assists, with a steal, which is a career high. Shooting career high, 38% from 3, as well on 4 attempts. But recently, he's been just super improved, even in season. Since coming back from All-Star break, he's been on fire. I think he's averaging 22, 10, and 9 with 2 steals on 52% shooting from 3 since coming back from All-Star break. He had that game yesterday against the Lakers, 15, 10, and 17 with 8 assists. 8 steals. He's been absolutely phenomenal in the second half of the year and really earning some money. But yeah, Giddey going to a place in Chicago where he kind of gets to spread his wings a little bit more. In OKC, the time was kind of up. They're building a certain type of team, and Giddey just wasn't really fitting it. But now Giddey goes to a team where they kind of need him to be talented, need him to have the ball in his hands. He's been doing it. He's been getting, he's been playmaking his best abilities. He rebounds very, very well. Defensively, he's been starting to lock in a lot more with the steals and stuff. He's been shooting the 3 ball very, very solidly this year as well. He's still only 22 years old. And yeah, he might get a contract extension from Chicago, and he might be a building block of the future for the Bulls. When OKC, the end of OKC tenure was kind of like not great. And now in Chicago, recently, he's been playing like one of the better players in the league in the second half of the season. So Giddey, he's been very, very good. And I'm interested to see how much this keeps going for the Bulls going into next season if he does stay there. The Cleveland Cavaliers going with Ty Jerome. I think it's a pretty obvious one. Jerome was a guy, he's been bounced around the league, played for 4 different teams in 5 years. His first couple years in the league, trying to bounce around, trying to figure something out. Last year, he only played in 2 games with Cleveland before having to go with ankle surgery and missing the year. And he went from that, being a guy that was bouncing around, trying to figure out a home into the league, if he was even going to stay in the league, to now he's one of the best role players and 6-man in the NBA. Averaging 12, 2, and 3 with a steal on almost 50, 40, 90 shooting. 50, 41, 87 to be exact. He's been just a big spark plug for this team. A really good basketball player. Shooting the 3 ball very well, handling the ball very well, defensively locked in, hits some big shots, has some stretches in games where he hits like 3 shots in a row that really helps the Cavaliers. Just been such a huge part of why the Cavs have been the best team in the NBA this year. Ty Jerome, one of the, probably when you think of most improved player, this is one of the things you think of. A guy that literally only played 2 games, was injured, has been a guy that has just been bouncing around the league. Again, 4 teams in 5 years, trying to figure it out. Hasn't played more than 48 games in a season, for a team. And now all of a sudden, he's one of the best 6 men and best role players in the NBA, just in a year span. So Ty Jerome, definitely, no question, most improved player for this team and one of the most improved players in the NBA. For the Dallas Mavericks, going with Max Christie, even though he hasn't played there the entirety of the season, still, has a shot at it. First 2 years of the Lakers, kind of just, he has some opportunities sometimes, but just didn't really get the full minutes. Only played about 12 minutes, 14 minutes. Couldn't really get a full opportunity. Then this year, he became a starter at one point, coming off the bench a little bit for Dallas now, but has really shined and really taken a big step this year and give you 9-3-1 in the entirety of the year on 37% shooting from three. In 21 games with Dallas, averaging 11, 4-3 with a steal on 38% shooting from three. Started off hot, has kind of cooled down a little bit, but has shown a lot of moments. Guy that can shoot the three ball, really competes defensively, a really solid perimeter defender, and then has shown the ability to maybe go get a bucket on his own and self-create. And if he has that self-creation ability, that could be big. And he's 22 years old. Still very young and still can develop a lot for this team. So Max Christie, he's been a very improved player, finally getting the opportunity that he's just needed. And he's finally showing that he can stick around in this league and could be pretty good. For the Denver Nuggets, going with Christian Braun. Christian Braun probably should be in the conversation for the actual Most Improved Player of the Year award because this is a great story. First 2 years in the league, he was a bench player, a sixth man, seventh man, eighth man, energy player in the rotation. And now with KCP gone, he has to step in. He's starting every game except for two. And he's been very good, even though the Nuggets haven't been the greatest of teams. You know what I mean? Jokic has been very, very good, but the rest of the team has kind of been very iffy. If Christian Braun doesn't do the same exact things that KCP does, Christian Braun's been very good in his own right. Give you 15, 5, and 2 with a steal, shooting 57% from the field, 38% from three, 82% from the free throw line, all career high numbers. Getting a lot of opportunity. Again, a starter on this team. I just like the energy he brings. He plays with a lot of energy on both ends. Offensively, he's a guy that's not going to do too much. The numbers look good from three. He's not an amazing three-point shooter, but he only takes them if he actually really, really has to. But cuts, he's a really good cutter. Very, very athletic, so he gets to the rim. And off the cuts, he does very, very well. Fills in the gaps. Defensively, he takes assignments on the perimeter. He plays, very solid. Again, very gritty and athletic and a lot of energy on both ends. I just like the way he plays, man. He's a winning player. One at Kansas, one in high school, one in the NBA already. He's just a winning player. And he should be getting a lot of, acknowledgement for Most Improved because going from being a guy that averaged 7 and 20 minutes a game to now being a starter, averaging 15, more than doubling points per game while having a career year, an efficient year everywhere else. Just a very good year for Christian Braun. For the Detroit Pistons, going with Cade Cunningham. Cade might win the award in real life, which not the greatest thing. I'm not a big fan of Cade winning this award because most improved players shouldn't go to guys that already are number one picks, already have been good. But that being said, Cade still has been very improved. Give you 25, 6, and 9 with a steal, shooting 46, 35, 85 shooting splits, almost all career high numbers, and has led the Detroit Pistons to being an actual playoff team in Eastern Conference. Cade has been really good, all-star, might make All-NBA this year, and Cade has just been absolutely incredible. The numbers still have been very good, and Cade has been really good in his entire career. He just hasn't really gotten the proper love and shown it because the Pistons have been very bad. But now with the Pistons being very good and him being the forefront of it, becoming an actual star. A guy that can give you 25 to 30 points, can have big assist nights, rebounds well, competes in the defensive end, can score from all three levels, and really just helps will your team to victory. That's what Cade has been doing this entire season, and Cade is very good. You can go back on the channel and look at stuff I talk about with the Pistons and Cade. I've been a big fan of Cade since coming into the NBA. Even at Oklahoma State, I was a big fan of him as well. And for him to show him to become an all-star and all-NBA level type player just like that at 23 years old still as well, it's really, really cool to see. Cade, even though he probably shouldn't win the actual MIP award, still has been very improved. For the Golden State Warriors, going with Moses Moody. Moses Moody, he was their lottery pick a couple years ago. First 3 years in the league, has just not really gotten a whole lot of opportunity to show his full what he can really do. And now this year, he's become a starter on this team, and they're thriving right now, and he's thriving. Give you 10 points, 2 rebounds, and assists. He's shooting 38% from three. Since becoming a starter, the team's been really good. There's also because Jimmy Butler's here now. But since becoming a full-time starter, he's had multiple games of 20. He just had 20 last night against the Hawks. He had 20 points even though they lost, but he had 20. He had another 20-point game against Portland. Yeah, so far, he started the last 17 games. In those 17 games, he's averaging 12 and 3 on 40% shooting from three. So he has been very good in terms of being a 3-point shooter, catch and shoot guy. Guys really fit into the system and defensively competes as well, and just makes a lot of hustle plays and energy plays. The little things that he does that really helps his team win. And he's a Warriors type player. And I'm happy for Moses that he's finally getting the opportunity to show who he can be. Because again, he's a lottery pick for a reason. He just hasn't really gotten the chance to show it. And now he's finally showing it, and he's doing it while also winning with a really good team. For the Houston Rockets, I'm going with Jalen Green for this one. Jalen Green, even though statistically it might not be a crazy jump, he's averaging more points, but he's actually averaging less rebounds, less assists, shooting the ball about the same, a little bit better from three and from free throw line. So numbers-wise, not going to look crazy. But I feel like playing-wise, he's looked a lot better. Jalen Green for the first 3 years of his career, it's been a lot of just inconsistency. He have a week and a 5-game stretch where it's like, oh man, this is a Jalen Green that could be an all-star, could be the face of the team. There's another week where you're like, dang, is he even a starter? Like, he just has been so inconsistent, so up and down, up and down. And now this year, he's been the most consistent year of his career. Still has his moments here and there, but has been a lot more consistent. I feel like he's consistently been the first or second best player on this team every night. 21 points per game. He has nights where he gives you 30, gives you 25, 28, highlights. He still has his games once in a while where it's like 8 points, 10 points, not good efficiency. But I just feel like this is the most put together, most complete I've seen Jalen Green be. And it's also helped that the Rockets are going to be a top seed in the Western Conference this year and they're going to be a playoff team. So Jalen Green, even though the numbers aren't going to look it, I still feel like he's been very improved. And I feel like this is the best Jalen Green we have seen so far. For the Indiana Pacers, I went Bennedict Mathurin. I think this is kind of a tougher team to do too. But I went Ben Mathurin. Last year, unfortunately, got hurt at the end of the year, didn't play in the playoffs and all that stuff. And this year, I was interested to see what his role is going to be like. And so far this year, he's been pretty good. He's started off the bench, then he became a starter. He's been kind of, in and out of the starting lineup with injuries and all that stuff. But he's been consistently Bennedict Mathurin. Scoring, give you 16, career high in rebounds per game, career high shooting the ball wise, 47% of the field, 36% from three. He's been very, very solid, having some big nights. He had a game against, those 2 games against Brooklyn really nice. He had a streak of 3 straight 20-something point games. He's a scorer. He's a scoring guy. I just feel like he looks a lot better this year than he did last year, where numbers were a little bit down from his rookie year, not playing as much as his rookie year, to trying to figure out what his role is on this team. And now this year, he's kind of really found it, and he's going to be a big piece for the Pacers. For the LA Clippers, we're going with Norman Powell, a guy who potentially could have won it this year. Probably was my pick to win most improved, but he's not going to meet the game requirement, I don't think. So he might not actually be eligible for it. But Norman Powell has been amazing. Even though he's been a scorer, last 2 years he's finished top 5 and 6 man of the year. We know he can do. But this year's just been a bigger step. With Paul George leaving, Kawhi missing the first half of the season, there needs some time and some players to really step up. And Norman Powell has really stepped up. Give you 23 points per game on amazing efficiency, 49% from the field, 42% from 3 on 7 attempts. The shots he hits, the shots he takes, he's just scoring in bunches. And he's really kept this Clipper team very good. He's just been a very good player, has some all-star consideration for him. And at 32 years old, at 31 years old, for him to have a year like this was just incredible for Norm. It's just incredible to see a guy at this point in his career take a big step. He's averaging almost 10 more points per game this year than they did last year. So just insane stuff from Norman. Again, probably would have won it in real life, at least for me personally. It probably should have been the winner if he was going to be eligible for it. But unfortunately, injuries have really taken him away in the second half of the season. So hope he can get healthy for the playoff run. For the Lakers, going Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves has been incredible this year. He's getting better as the years progress. And this year has been just an elite year. Give you 19, 4, and 6 for the steal on 45, 36, 87 shooting splits. He has been absolutely incredible, especially in the past couple months. Since February started, since the start of February, he's giving you 22, 5, and 5 with a steal on really solid efficiency. So yeah, Austin Reeves has been incredible having game. He's had 6 straight games of 20 or more points. Couple double-digit assist games, really big nights, and has just been really fit next to LeBron and Luka. He's been the third guy. And I did the video the other day talking about, best third options in the NBA, ranking every team's third option. Austin Reeves was pretty high up there because he's just been like that. He's been give you 20 points, will also give you 5, 6 assists with some solid defense and some big shot making, being a tertiary ball handler, sometimes secondary ball handler, sometimes even the first option. and he's been killing it that way too. So Austin Reeves has just been absolutely amazing. He's been everything the Lakers have needed and more for this team. And I mean, the development of him from his rookie year to now has just been absolutely amazing. For the Memphis Grizzlies, you're going to Santi Aldama. Santi, he's been very solid for the past few seasons, and this year has just been even better for him. I mean, give you career numbers: 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 48% from the field, 37% from three. Those are all career high numbers. He has been a spark plug off the bench, being a four that can move very well, can shoot the ball very well, can defend, can rebound, can have some big 16 to 20 something point nights while hitting 3 or 4 threes. He's a really good player, man. He's up for some money. Don't know if he's going to be a Grizzly for that much longer after this season, but he's such a big spark plug for this team. Really a guy that came out of nowhere. I mean, he was the 30th overall pick a couple years ago. Didn't really play a lot his rookie year. Second year kind of had to step in because of some injury issues and stuff. And so far, since then on, for the past 3 years, he's just been getting better and better and better, more consistent. And now I feel like one of the better role players. I think he made my role player all-star team this year. He's one of the better role players, better like guys coming off the bench in the NBA. For Miami Heat, going with Tyler Hero. Feel like it's an obvious one here. We already know how good he was. 6th man of the year. Last 3 years, averaged 20 points per game. Became a starter at some point because they kind of need him to, but felt like he kind of hit a wall or a ceiling. Where it's like, all right, this is kind of who he is. He's just a guy that can get you 20 and 5, maybe 5 assists, decent efficiency, but is he really a starter? Is he a 6 man? Can he stay healthy? Like, what's going to happen? And this year, he's just taken a couple steps forward. He's become the best player on the Heat this season, the franchise guy. Give you 23, 5, and 5 on amazing efficiency, an all-star, maybe even in the conversation for All-NBA. I don't know. Well, I don't think his team is good enough to maybe get there. But Tyler Hero has just been incredible. I mean, he's been the one consistent for the Miami Heat, where if nothing else works, at least we have Tyler Hero, that can do some things. Just the way he's been able to change a shot from taking a lot more threes, taking 9 threes a game instead of a lot of long twos. The playmaking has taken a huge jump as well. The late game shot making has been incredible for him, and he's taken so many strides forward. And it really looks like from being a guy that looked like he was just going to be a really good, scoring guard, a 6-man type of role, to now he's a all-star level player. So yeah, Tyler Hero has just been, a really fun thing to watch this season for me personally. For the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm going with Ryan Rollins. This is a very tough team to do because they don't play a lot of young players and all that stuff, but Ryan Rollins has really been the guy. His second round pick a couple years ago, first 2 years and played, 3 teams in 2 years for his first 2 seasons. Didn't really get to play at all. He's played 25 combined games in his first 2 seasons. And in Milwaukee this year, he's become a guy. I mean, he's played 45 games. In 12 minutes, he's given you 4 1-and-1 on decent shooting, started in a couple games. I think he's got converted to a regular contract, so shout out to him. But yeah, he's been solid. He's taken a lot of minutes from DeLon right before he got traded. Just a young guard that can play off the ball, can shoot the ball, can be another ball handler, and has really found a role for himself a little bit in the league. I mean, he's still 22 years old, and just finding a young role, a role on this team for a Bucks team that usually doesn't play a lot of young guys. So that's a big credit to him, and big credit to him for, getting a regular contract instead of being a two-way guy that was just bouncing around the league. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, we're going with Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels has always been solid. He's been a starter, good defensive wing that can shoot the 3 ball. But this year, especially maybe recently, he's been a lot better. On the current year, career highs, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.5 steals, almost a block per game, 48% from the field, 34% from 3, 83% from the free throw line, almost all career highs except for the 3-point shooting and blocks. But recently, when Julius Randle got hurt, he really stepped up a ton, and he's just really been carrying over. He's had big 20.9 since the month of February started in 24 games. He's given you 17, 7, and 3 with a steal and a block on 52% shooting from the field and 88% for the free throw line. So he's just been big, a lot more aggressive. We know he had some offensive capabilities. He's shown it a little bit, but just hasn't really put it all together. And now he's finally put it all together. Guy that he's 6'8", 6'9", that moves very well, can get to the bucket, get to the rim, get to the free throw line, which he's been doing a lot. He will still be able to shoot the 3 and still be able to create for himself. It's been really helping Minnesota out in other ways. When they don't have Julius Randle or some big consistent nights, and we already know what he's going to provide in the defensive end, being one of the better perimeter defensive wings in the NBA. So Jaden McDaniels is really putting it all together, and it's just been really nice to see that happen For the Pelicans, going with Trey Murphy III. Out of all the horrible things that have happened to the Pelicans this year, Trey Murphy III playing this good is one of the greatest things to happen. Having a career year, give you 21, 5, and 3 with a steal on 36% shooting from threes. Has some big nights, scoring 20 plus points, leading scorer on this team. Just been incredible. You know how good he has been and the flashes he's shown. Now with Brandon Ingram out of the way, and with all the injuries that happened, Trey got a chance to show like what he can do. And he's done a very good job at it. Not only just being a 3-point shooter, an elite 3-point shooter and good defender, but also can put the ball on the floor. Can also go get to the rim. Is also very athletic. Can dunk on you. And we knew he's got a high ceiling, man. He's got a lot of potential in there. Unfortunate, he's injured again. He's gonna miss the rest of the season. That's been the one downfall for Trey Murphy. Just the injuries have just been killing him, especially the last 2 seasons. But hopefully he can get healthy, because when he is healthy, he's a big part of this New Orleans Pelicans future. For the New York Knicks, going with Karl-Anthony Towns. This was maybe the hardest team to do because the Knicks really only play like 7 players, and they're all pretty established already. But Karl-Anthony Towns has been great in his first year in New York. Got the big trade in the offseason, and I was interested to see, how he's going to fit in, what's going to happen. And he's been great. I mean, give you 24.5 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal on amazing efficiency, 52, 42, 83 shooting splits. Career highs in points per game, rebounds per game, 3-point percentage. Has some big nights. It's like a different level of Karl-Anthony Towns that we haven't really seen, where he's just been an elite floor spacer, playing, with space with all shooters around, so he can just go get to work. And he's just been the most efficient, most physical, and it's been really, really cool to see. He's just been dominating, taking over games. Might make an All-NBA team this year with the way he's been doing things. And yeah, it's just really cool to see a guy that we already knew was an all-star level player and all that stuff really transform and become an even better player. For the OKC Thunder, going with Aaron Wiggins, the man who saved basketball. He was the 55th overall pick a couple years ago. First 3 years in the league, has some good moments. Been a rotational player, efficient player, getting his little time here and there. And this year he's taking even a bigger step with OKC being so good. Aaron Wiggins has been one of the better role players in the league. He made my role player all-star team. He's firmly, I feel like, a top probably 10 role player in the NBA because the things he does, man. He's just such an efficient player. 49%, 39% from 3, averaging 11, 3, and 1, all career highs. Playing not even the most amount of minutes of his career, yet still balling out. He has games where he has 20-something points, and he might over-dribble like maybe 7 times. He's just very amazing cutter, catch-and-shoot guy, defensively, just fits in where he gets in. He's never going to do too much. He's never going to take the ball and be like, all right, Shea, J-Dub, watch out, my turn. He's never going to do that. He's always going to play his role very well, and he's just going to hit open shots, which is a big part of being a good role player, just getting when your opportunity comes to hit shots, you do it. And Aaron Wiggins does it with the best of them. So Aaron Wiggins is a really good player, and I feel like he's going to have some big moments in this playoff run. For the Orlando Magic, we're going with Goga Bitadze. Goga, big guy. He was a first-round pick a couple years ago in Indiana, which I even forget he was a Pacer. And in years with Indiana, he just didn't really find it. Could not stick in the rotation. Couldn't find it at all. And since coming to Orlando, he's been really good. And this year, he's been even better. Career year, giving you 7, almost 7 and 2 at 1.5 blocks on 63% shooting. He's starting the most amount of games of his career, 41 games. He started half the season and has just been really good. And also a guy that, minutes kind of get inconsistent. He has games where he plays 5-6 minutes, and he has games where he plays 27 minutes, depending on how the other bigs are doing. And no matter what, I feel like no matter how many minutes he's playing, no matter what his role is, if he's starting, coming off the bench, doesn't even know if he's going to play, he's always comes in and provides something. He's been an amazing offensive rebounder, getting extra possessions, a better than expected rim protector, efficient scorer in the interior, and he's found a role and now probably will be around the league for a while as a really solid backup big because what he's done in Orlando, where he's just been able to really find what he does well and play very, very well out of it, no matter what role and situation he's put into. So Goga, great job by him to kind of find his way in the league when he had a kind of a disappointing start. For the Philadelphia 76ers, going with Quentin Grimes. Another team that's just feel like everything has gone wrong for the Sixers this year, but the one thing they can hit on is Quentin Grimes. Similar to Max Christie, where he wasn't here the whole season, even before this season, Well, before he went to Philly, when he was in Dallas, he was pretty solid, giving you 10 points per game. After last year, having an injury plague, just a bad year for him. When he used to be one of the pillars, a starter for the New York Knicks, and then last year just kind of was injured, got traded, only played in 6 games with Detroit, got traded again in the offseason. It was like, man, what's going to happen to Quentin Grimes in the future? And in Dallas, he was pretty solid. And then coming to Philadelphia, he's just been incredible. Now, again, more opportunity because the Sixers are trying to lose and they're not playing their star players. But still, he's been incredible. In 19 games with Philadelphia, he's averaging 22, 5, and 4 on 50, 39, 71. He's had 40-point nights. I think he's had 20 or more in 8 consecutive games. Like, he has just been insane to watch him perform. I'm interviewed by him the other day, so you can go back and check that out, where I really did a breakdown of how good Quentin Grimes has been with Philadelphia. But he's up for a restricted free agency. Maybe gets a little bag from Philly or from somewhere else that really sees this. Like, you know what, Quentin Grimes can be more than we expected. He's not just a 7th, 8th man off the bench that can shoot and defend. Maybe he can be a little bit more than that. But Quentin Grimes, he's been absolutely, it's been incredible to watch him perform over the past few weeks. For the Phoenix Suns, I went Bol Bol. This was the hardest team to do because they're having a bad year. All the guys that they play are just we know we're gonna get from them. There's not any young guys getting an opportunity or anything like that there. So I didn't know what to do, but I went Bol Bol because when he started in that stretch, he was pretty nice. He went on a little run in February, March. It's kind of stopped now. The last couple games, he's only played in 2 of the last 5. In those 2 games, he played 43 seconds and he played 5 minutes. But in that little stretch where he actually started playing, he actually did some solid things. He had some pretty nice performances. Some 20-point games where he hit threes, block shots. He had a 16-game stretch where he averaged 11 and 5 with 1.5 blocks on 51% shooting from the field, and 85% from the free throw line, 34% from 3. He had 2 20-point games. He scored double digits 7 times. Had a couple big rebounding games. And I was like, okay, Bol Bol, maybe he can do it. I mean, he's, 25? Still kind of trying to figure out what he can do in this league and who he actually, what kind of player he is. But it's nice to see that he still has some game in him, that he can come out and show some solid things. For the Blazers, I went with Toumani Camara. I feel like there were a couple options. Then you have Diaz, Scoot Henderson. But I went with Toumani. He had a really good season last year. He was a throw-in the Damian Lillard trade after being the 50-something overall pick by Phoenix, sent to Portland. Last year, he was a rotational player. He was solid. And now this year, he's become a starter and kind of like one of the culture setters and the guys for the Blazers. Give you 11, 5, and 2, 1.5 steals, 37% shooting from 3. All defensive type of player. Just plays so well on the defensive end, just does so many things there, and a playmaker over there. Then offensively, he has a solid game. I mean, a kind of connecting piece. He rebounds. He's a really solid passer. He can hit the 3 ball. He can score in the interior. So he's just a kind of a do-it-all Swiss Army knife type of guy, and one of the most loved Blazers. Brings a lot of heart and effort to this team, and it's really cool that he's become this loved and this good of a player when he was a guy that no one really knew during the draft process, was a throw into a trade, and now he's loved over there, and definitely some big most improved player type of vibes. And if he could take another step next year, then things could get even better. He might even be in the actual MIP conversation. So Toumani, very, very good. The Sacramento Kings, going with Keon Ellis. I might even picked him last year for the Kings, but he's been even more improved, having a career year. Give you 8, 2, 1.4 steals, almost 1.4 assists, almost 1.5 steals, shooting 43% from 3. He's had some monster games. He just had 20 the other day against Milwaukee. Becoming a real rotational player, played in 68 games, 23 minutes. Probably should even be playing more. Just brings so much. A guy that the Kings kind of need. Being a defender, a really, really good perimeter defender, pesky perimeter defender, and has become a really good 3-point shooter as well in the offensive end. So Sacramento doesn't really have a lot of guys like that. They either have guys that can score, or guys that can shoot, and not much defense or anything like that. So having a two-way guy like Keon Ellis really helps the Sacramento Kings team, and he's also really found a role for himself. Undrafted guy, was to a small college, eventually ended up going to Alabama, undrafted, working his way up, and now has found himself he's an actual NBA player. the San Antonio Spurs went with Julian Champagnie. He has had a great season. Undrafted guy. First 2 years in the league, kind of was just like what last year he became a rotational guy, played a lot of games. And this year he stepped up even more. Give you 9 points, 3 rebounds, and assists. Shoots 36% from three. He was a starter early in the year, kind of lost his starting job. But I love just the way he plays and what he brings to the Spurs. Being a wing, 6'8" wing that is just a sniper. He doesn't care how bad he's shooting it, what he's shooting it with, as long as he knows his role. He knows his role is to shoot the ball. And that's what he comes in and does. He hits a lot of big shots for his team. Has become a really nice role player for them as well. So Julian Champagnie, credit to him. Undrafted, working his way up, and found his way as being an actual good rotational player that I really like. For the Raptors, going with Grady Dick. Grady, lottery pick last year. Didn't really get a whole chance to play until the end of the year. He did solid. And this year, he came out hot. He kind of cooled off, and then he's been really injured recently. But he had a really good start to this year. Gave you 14, 3-1, 35% from three, started in every game he played, and has really shown that he can be a core piece of the future for the Raptors. A guy that can shoot the three ball, but also a little bit more than a shooter. He can put the ball on the floor. The mid-range game was really, really good to see. Not being afraid to, get to the basket, go get a bucket himself if he needs to. And just if he can do that as well, being a three-point shooter, which is what the Raptors really need, while also being a guy that can create for himself and has a little bit of that type of ceiling to him, that could do big things. Unfortunately, again, I wish he was more healthy, and I wish the Raptors team was more healthy in general so you can really see this whole team together and playing, because the Raptors have a lot of different things going on over there. But Grady had a really fun start of the year, and he really has shown that he can be maybe a little bit more than what we expected from him. For the Utah Jazz, I'm going with John Collins. John Collins kind of lost in the league now, being in Utah. But this year has actually been a pretty good year. This is the best year he's had in a little while. 19, 8, and 2, a steal and a block, 52% from the field, 40% from three, 84% from the free throw line, which is a career high. His best number since back in 2020 when they had that, right before that big run, in the playoffs the Hawks had. And John Collins has been actually pretty solid. If it wasn't for the crazy contract, teams might have been trying to go get him. Forward that can score in the interior, efficient score inside, has a three-point shooting ability. He's rebounding the ball very, very well, too. And defensively shows a lot of things. Being a versatile defender that's quick with good hands and all that stuff. So John Collins, shout out to him. He kind of, again, he's probably lost. People probably forget about John Collins existing because he plays at Utah. But JC's had a pretty good season. And finally, for the Washington Wizards, it's Jordan Poole. The Poole party is back on. JP, first year in Washington last year, was not great. Was not great at all. Had to really adjust. And this year, he's been 10 times better. Having a career year. 20.5 points, over 4.5 assists, almost 1.5 steals, shooting 37% from three. Those are all career highs for Jordan Poole. He's had some big moments, big games, big-time shots. Just looks a lot more like the old Jordan Poole that was back in Golden State helping them win championships than what the last couple years of Jordan Poole have been. And now showing that he probably can be a franchise piece for this Wizards team in the future. Last year he just had to really adjust to being a number one. He was always been like a six man, playing with Steph, Draymond, and Clay really helps out a lot, brings a lot of pressure off you. Now you go to Washington, probably maybe the worst talent team in the NBA, and having to be a top player and a top piece, just couldn't really find it. And now this year he's found it. He had a year to kind of prepare for it, and now he's found it, and now he's been taking it and running. Because Jordan Poole, he's been very, very fun. Even the Wizards are not a fun team to watch, and they're very bad. Jordan Poole himself has been very, very fun to watch. I'm happy to see Jordan Poole play like this again. But yeah, so today, hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Once again, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so all support around the channel will be very much appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.